We didn't do a show last week because I was preparing for the big Patreon drive stream, which was supposed to happen Friday.
And even if we wanted to, we couldn't have done it because there was no internet.
Yeah, there's no internet here. And then it was still down on Saturday. I ended up doing the stream on Cyber Monday instead. But anyway, we didn't do a show. But there's a thing that I personally have been doing around Thanksgiving time since way back in the GT GameTrailers days. And every Thanksgiving, we hand out the Turkey Awards for video games. And I got a couple messages on Twitter and a couple on the site where people are like, oh man, no Turkey Awards this year. We're doing them right now. So even though it's a week later, we're still going to do the Turkey Awards for 2017 because that's just something I feel like I cannot go a year without doing. So Matt and I both have 2 Turkey Awards for 2017. Matt, you're going to start. What is your first Turkey Award?
I mean, it's pretty much the most obvious you could pick, which is EA.
Yeah.
In general. I mean, originally it was Battlefront 2, and then, like you said, we could do anything, so I expanded it out to EA, because I think EA is just in general mishandling most things right now. Especially, the loot box. I mean, I'm not a giant, like, rawr, angry loot box person. I ignore them for the most part. But, like,
yeah, I'm pretty much that way,
I think
too.
EA is letting them affect how the games play too much, and, like, really the better example is Need for Speed, I think, because it's a single-player game you have to grind to avoid buying loot boxes for, which is like, hey, like that. And it's not like...
It's getting a pass because nobody cares about the game.
Right, because no one cares about Need for Speed. It's not like Shadow of War where, yeah, you got to grind the kind of the final chapter to because you need better orcs or whatever, and you can pay for better orcs, that'd be better, but you move faster through it. But it's like I enjoy that gameplay. I enjoy doing because like every attack on the fortress is a little different. You got to deal with other things, and it's like some things can happen that don't necessarily happen every time. Like there's a little more fluidity to it. Whereas like Need for Speed, you just basically have to redo the last 2 races over and over and over and over and over and over. It's like no, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it's part and parcel of the whole thing. Where like I really want to like a Need for Speed game again, and I can't because they won't let me. And it's just I don't think that's ever going to stop. And now I just gotta hope that the Crew 2 is good because I want an arcade kind of racing thingy, and EA won't give it to me without weird kind of microtransactions or a bunch of bros on green screens.
I mean, let's be honest. If there's one turkey for 27, it's EA.
Yeah.
I mean, and I let you pick the topics first. It would have been my top pick as well. Once you picked it, I moved on to something else. I mean, there's really no denying that EA has just kind of completely spit the bit in 2017. Very few of its games have released without any form of controversy whatsoever.
Was there a Madden problem? Madden was pretty smooth.
Yeah, I mean, but FIFA with its Ultimate Team and all that stuff. I mean, there's been problems with almost every single major release from EA this year. And the
Mass Effect, they
with the whole facial
Mass
animation,
Effect.
Screwed up the franchise and all that stuff. I mean, literally every game EA has put out this year has had some kind of dust-up or kerfuffle around it. Like, it's crazy.
It's really not. I do have to give some props to the BioWare folks that are running Star Wars: The Old Republic, though, because that thing's just chugging along quietly, putting out content, putting out stuff, doing its thing. Like remembering that KOTOR exists here and there. They did some nice events for that, and it's just like. EA must not know they're there anymore. Yeah. They must have forgotten that they have that over there to screw up too, because it hasn't happened so far.
It has really been a debacle of a year for EA, and the crazy part though really is that it hasn't really paid for it financially.
No.
Over the last week with the Battlefront 2 stuff, its stock went down a little bit, but if you still look at year over year,
it's going to do
still
fine.
way up.
Battlefront seems to be basically free money one way or the other.
Yeah.
And then of course all this stuff just makes me. I really would like Anthem to be good.
Yeah.
And
it makes you nervous though, doesn't it?
Makes you like. It's really disturbing that Anthem is in the hands.
It's one of my most anticipated games right now, and I'm very nervous about it because it feels like EA doesn't learn lessons.
Yeah. No, you're right, and just like that's the thing about the Battlefront 2. Even before all the when the alpha went up and people didn't like how you got like very very noticeable upgrades through the loot boxes, and like there was like, oh, we'll change to this, and then like there was more complaints, but we'll change it to this, and then like, oh, we've turned a little. It doesn't feel like EA's listening to the fans. It feels like EA's like going like, well, we didn't get away with that. It feels
how can we, and instead of them saying, well, we won't do it again, they'll be like, how can we do it next time so they won't notice
it? Right.
It's like That's not how you operate a business.
Like it doesn't feel like a customer, company relationship. It feels like
what can I get past my customers?
Right. It feels like we're like trying to like outwit each. It's like a battle of wits.
Yeah. Who wants to do that with an entertainment product?
No, I just want
to enjoy it.
I just want to blow X-wings up.
Right. And not feel like I'm getting ripped off or you're trying to manipulate me. It's really crazy. EA's had a terrible, terrible year. I say it's all because Peter Moore left. Although he was there when some of this stuff happened.
Yeah,
maybe that's why he left. He's like, I've had enough. I'm getting out of here.
Bring back Bing Gordon.
Yeah.
Bing will fix it.
All right. So my first turkey for 2017 is influencers. So
Game changers.
where do we want to start with this one?
I
So
think there's going to be a lot
it should start with PewDiePie,
I'm
because a lot of the stuff that has happened with influencers are things that were started with him and then it trickled down to everybody else. So he had his crazy scandal where he was using Fiverr, paying people $5 to do crazy stuff and then mocking it and putting people from third world countries in his videos as jokes. That was terrible. Then we have T. Martin, who was running a gambling ring, a Counter-Strike Go skins gambling website that he was sending.
Well, he's promoting on his channel without telling anyone he owned it.
That he owned it. Yeah, just basically saying, hey, there's this cool website, go check it out and gamble on skins for Counter-Strike Go, 12-year-old kid. So we had and look, I also want to throw
At least he wasn't cheating.
No, yeah.
I'll get you for that.
I also want to throw into this Turkey Award the court system that let T. Martin off for that with nothing.
I think the laws just aren't there for it yet.
I mean,
basically, there must lawyers must have looked at that case and be like, "What?" It feels like one of those things where like the technology has outpaced the legal system. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's happened with the internet already for like 15 years now because they're using old laws for radio to moderate the internet, which is just insane. So all he had to do basically was like go to Florida for a month. He just left the state for a while, and he had a little bit of inconvenience, but he never was really got any kind of a sentence or probation. He had to pay no fines. He got to keep all the money that he made off of these kids gambling.
That's crazy.
It's insane, dude. So it's not just him. It's the court system and the laws as well that earns a Turkey Award from me. And then the final one would be the influencers at EA's press conference this year, which was a complete and total debacle that embarrassed our entire industry. So to me this year, almost all the influencers spit the bit at one time or another. And so that is my first turkey for 2017.
Then EA comes back into the picture at the end.
Yeah, somehow it all came full circle. Which ultimately means that EA is the official turkey of SIFTD for 2017. Let's get that straight.
Yeah, I think they're at the head of the pack.
Well, the pack of turkeys. Is a group of turkeys a herd? Is it a gaggle?
No, I'm sure there's a specific name for it.
I know it is. A flock.
Maybe it's just a flock. I don't know.
Do turkeys count really as birds in that sense?
Yeah, turkeys are birds.
So it would be a flock of turkeys.
I don't know.
Or is a flock something that flies? Because turkeys, they fly.
No.
Actually, they do fly. But they do not fly in groups.
Turkeys can't fly.
Yeah, they can.
No, they can't.
Yeah.
No. There's a whole WKRP episode about that.
Really?
They can't fly.
I thought for sure they
The
could
boss
fly.
of the station gives away turkeys at a big Thanksgiving event and throws them out of the back of a helicopter, and they just start hitting the ground like sacks of wet cement, and like people are dodging exploding turkeys, and all. It's a famous Thanksgiving special.
We just came full circle again because WKRP in Cincinnati is where Pactor gets his catchphrase "Hello, babies" from.
It is?
Yes.
I thought he got that from The Jerk.
No.
Steve Martin's The Jerk.
No, it's a
he's
profit
doing
deal.
so he's
A
doing-
profit deal is from The Jerk.
Oh, okay, so Hello Babies is from Johnny Fever?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yep. Funny how
Never
that
put
works.
that together. I always thought it was The
Dude,
Jerk.
people still ask, like, just this week we had comments on YouTube, why does he keep saying hello babies every time he starts the show? I'm so tired of, like, I don't type it out anymore. I'm like, if you don't know, you're never going to know.
Baby, if you've ever wondered.
Yeah. That's
Wondered
where
why
it comes
Pactor calls you babies.
Yes, that's why. It's a catchphrase from an old 70s
From a
TV show.
45-year-old television show that was old to me watching it when I was
You're
8.
right, you're right. My dad would watch it, I'm like, damn, this show looks old.
Yep.
We watched something for the last decade.
But WKRP's Thanksgiving episode where They throw the turkeys at him. It's all done through radio, because a radio station. It's all done. You hear Les Nessman's report, and it's hilarious.
It sounds like
very funny.
Sure, you can probably find it on YouTube for free.
Oh yeah,
now.
it's all on YouTube for sure.
What's your second turkey for 2017, Matt?
Second turkey is this one. This one's a little more of a personal disappointment because I played enough of it to be more disappointed with it than I thought I was initially, and it is Agents of Mayhem.
Gets a turkey award. Wow.
Because I think this game could have been great.
Ah, okay.
And I've played probably 20 or 30 hours of it. Like, I come back to it periodically.
Well, let's not be that terrible.
It's not terrible. It's not. It's just. It's so bland, and there's nothing there. It's just.
It just seems so generic.
Complete lack of substance. It's like cotton candy, and it's like. This could have been a real like they've got a great like line of characters here. They've got a great bunch of ideas, and they just did nothing with it.
Well, I also feel like too the pedigree of the studio. It's shocking to me that this didn't have a soul.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't have a soul is exactly the way to put it. It's just there's no there, but you play it and all the pieces are there, and it's just less than the sum of its parts.
It's like a video game like checklist.
Yeah, and I
it checks all the boxes, but
and it's like it's like a game out of time to some degree. Where like I was playing it, there's a certain point where you realize how big the map is, and it's nothing.
Yeah,
it's like the size of a regular city in like a normal like map. It's like nothing. That's
hard to believe.
Like I thought it was going to be like, oh, this is the first part of like multiple parts. No, that's all you get.
Wow,
it's very small.
Holy
and
cow.
Certainly by modern standards. And like I'm not saying everything's got to be The Witcher 3 or something in terms of map size, but like you've driven this whole city in the space of like the first 4, 5, or 6 missions. There's nothing there, and like. Especially for a game where like you're expected to kind of grind these characters' levels up like a long time. Like these guys take a while to level up. You've got 12 or 15 of them now that the DLCs are out, and like everybody's got to go up individually and got to pick and like there's a lot of cool stuff happening, but there's no reason to do it. Like there's no reason to put it and like every time sometimes I'll put it on and I'll just sort of play it to kind of like jump in and mess with it. And like I ironically enough, I feel like a Shadow of War style like kind of conquest defense idea would be great for this. Like that would extend kind of the existence of this. And like they have a thing where like the bad guys take back locations you've liberated, but it's like really kind of it's more like little like capture point things, and like you just lose like a little bonus for a while, and then they actually patched it recently because for a while every time you went back to the space station you'd lose another point, and you could lose them all if you went back too often, and so you'd have to kind of start over on the map. And now
so is it kind of like the gang territory thing in GTA?
A little bit, but like not even that substantial, really.
Oh, wow.
But there's like things where like you go and you do like kind of the Assassin's Creed sort of thing where you go away and wait for a certain amount of time, and they come back, and eventually you discover a little dungeon, a little base you have to take out of whatever the hell they're. I think they're called Legion. The bad guys, I call them Cobra. There's Cobra,
Might as well
and or Hydra, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And you go down to the base, and like it's a kind of a randomized sort of set of rooms, and like each room you have a different thing you got to do, and you do like 4 or 5 of them, and then you get out, and then you get a bunch of rewards, and everybody levels up, and it's cool. Like it's like you can see that there's something there, but like they just didn't get there. They didn't take it far enough, and like it seems like it's a shame that didn't happen, that they didn't capitalize on this idea they had, because I like it a lot. It's a shame that. I'm really worried that because they did that, we might lose Volition.
That's possible.
Like it feels like this could be a problem on the level that like it could threaten them.
Yeah, for sure.
And like I love what Volition does, and I've loved what Volition even before Saints Row. I like what they do. And
it was a mistake for Volition to make anything but another Saints Row game.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. And it was stupid of Deep Silver to let Volition make
at the
anything
very least, you call it Saints Row Agents of Mayhem.
Exactly.
Like you have to trade on that recognizability.
Why do you spend all that time building that brand
and then
walk
away
not
from
use it? It makes no sense whatsoever. And look, I can understand a studio saying, "Nah, we want to let that," but the publisher is the one who should be the person of reason that says, "No. We've been doing this a long time, man. Why did you spend all these years building up Saints Row and you're just going to ditch it? And why would we publish a game that didn't have the Saints Row name on it?" It makes no sense whatsoever. It was failure on both sides there.
And I understand. A lot of the other stuff we're picking here is there's monetary value involved. Like people are getting cheated out of gambling related money by the T. Martin and these guys, and and EA is trying to bilk us all for microtransactions. I mean, those are more serious kind of infractions, but like
these guys just made a game that it wasn't as good as you hoped it was.
Right, but every time I think about this game, it bothers me
because it could end a studio that you admire. I totally get it.
And that's among all the tragedies of 2017, this was a minor one, but it sticks in my head.
No, so that's your pick. That's why you should pick it. All right, my last turkey for 2017, and this is maybe a little bit of a weird one, is game media distribution. So I've been dealing with YouTube for a while. I mean, for a long time we were just putting Pactor Factor on YouTube, and that was pretty much it. Now that we're on Patreon, I have to deal with YouTube constantly and continually. And now I see where a lot of these people who have been working on YouTube all this time are coming from. It's not that I didn't understand it before, what their complaints were. I just didn't understand the depth of the frustration that you could have in working with YouTube. Now you get videos demonetized just based on the title, Matt. Wow. If there are certain words in the title, it will flag your video as for older audiences only. And not like swear words, like words like fire. If you have like the word fire in your video title, it will not let you monetize it. It'll say, oh, this is not like advertiser friendly. So it's excluded from generating any revenue.
Settle down, Beavis.
Exactly. I mean, this is where the adpocalypse is coming from. The adpocalypse is real, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm starting to realize it now. And look, we make so so little money off of YouTube. It's like, people like watch GameFace and be like, oh, you need to break these up and put ads in front. I'm like, bro, we make like $5 per episode off GameFace on YouTube. Like, it's not worth it. Like, it just doesn't add up for us to spend that much time doing something that's going to make like $1 or $5. But I have dealt with it enough that I can see where these people who are doing big numbers and are trying to live off of YouTube revenue would be completely devastated and crushed by these policies. It's insane what YouTube is doing right now. But I also want to talk more specifically about some video game publishers and game media distribution. Atlas with Persona 5 and how it decided you can't stream Persona 5. And if you did, you could get YouTube strikes for putting up your archives of your streams. You could lose your account on Twitch if you tried to stream the game live. This policy is completely idiotic, and it ties right into my next point, which is Nintendo. Both Atlas with Persona 5 and Nintendo really have no clue how things work anymore. They really are complete, like earlier, for instance, when we were talking about like the Mario serial, like Sam, and it's my fault because I loaded the TriCaster with the trailer, but Sam ran a trailer for Super Mario Odyssey. What does that do? It instantly means that we cannot monetize this episode of GameFace. And the only way that we can monetize it is if we go back in and edit the episode, a 2.5, 3-hour episode, and put like a black box over the footage of Mario, or go and chop the show up and put it up topic by topic. It's insane, dude. We are promoting Nintendo's products. We're promoting Atlas's products when we put up streams or gameplay of Persona. Persona 5 is like a 100-hour game. Do you really think an hour of gameplay is going to keep someone from buying it because they're like, oh, I watched an hour of a 100-hour game. I don't want to play it now. Look, they're both Japanese companies, no surprise. They just don't quite get how things work, and they don't really understand the benefits that you can get from working with people who work on YouTube and on Twitch. And there's no excuse for that in 2017, Matt. There just isn't. 2015, 2014, you're still an outlier there, but maybe there's some data there to maybe back. There's no data anymore. It's all gravy. It's all good if people are streaming your game or putting up gameplay of your game online. And these publishers have not figured this out yet. And look, like I said earlier, Sam ran the trailer for Super Mario Odyssey. I'm instantly ping in my brain, can't monetize this episode. And that happens all the time. Like, you start thinking about, I'm getting ready, after we finish this, I'm going to record another episode of Ask Shane Anything. And I look at questions, and I'm like, if there's a Nintendo question, and I have a question about Microsoft, and I have to pick between the two of those that are going to go in the show, which one do you think I'm going to pick? If I think the quality of the question is equal, I'm going to put the question in the show about Microsoft, because I know if I actually put up footage of Microsoft's games in the episode, I'm not going to have to go back later and like re-edit the show to put it on YouTube, because otherwise we're not going to make any money off of it. It is so short-sighted, and they're not realizing the implications for creators like us. That now, when we get to a place where like, oh, well, can't put any Nintendo footage in this if I want to make any money off of it, it affects how you create content, and it deters you from using their games in your content. It is so short-sighted. It is so dumb. For 2017, it actually boggles my mind. I feel like I'm dealing with Viacom again, back when I was at GT, and they're like, you can't do anything on YouTube. Like, I feel like I'm living kind of in that technological stone age again, dealing with Atlas and Nintendo. And let's be fair, Atlas is not as bad as Nintendo. Because Nintendo actually, if you sign an agreement with Nintendo, they'll take half your money and you'll get a little bit. Like, at least if you slide, Atlas isn't trying to take your money, they're just trying to shut you down. So...
And only for that game, for some reason.
Right, and only for that game. Nintendo is just all of it. Anything Nintendo makes, publishes, develops, all of it's off the table. And they have ninjas out there that actually sit there and watch stuff. So even if they don't get the automatic... Because what we've had happen is, we put GameFace up, it goes through YouTube's channels, there are no copyright strikes. So they're like, oh good, wow, we're okay with this episode. It goes up for our patrons, and then you go back 4 days later to put it up for everybody else on YouTube, and you go back and look at the original video, and suddenly there's a bunch of strikes on it because some Nintendo ninja sat and watched the episode and waited for like 5 frames of a Nintendo game to be shown in the show. And you know, YouTube says all fair use. You can't fight fair use, dude. Every time I fight fair use, they side with the publisher. Every time. Like, we could literally sit there and have footage of of Mario twirling his hat, and we could say he's twirling that hat too slow, which is 100% fair use. That's exactly what fair use is, and they're still going to side with Nintendo. So, hey Atlas, hey Nintendo, hey YouTube, sir, to a certain extent. It's 2017. Wake up. Look at the way the media is changing. The industry is changing. The problem we have with Nintendo is right now it's swimming in money. So it instantly thinks everything it's doing is right. And so, yeah, that actually might be my number one turkey. It certainly got me more angry than talking about T-Martin because it affects my bottom line.
Right.
And the revenue that we can generate. And in all honesty, it affects the quality of our content. Like, not being able to show Nintendo games when we talk about them, that sucks. People who watch GameFace want to see the games. I mean, we're beautiful and all, and they love seeing us, but... I mean, they want to see the games. And that's something that sets GameFace apart from all other podcasts is we run B-roll, we play games live on the show. It's something that makes us different. And Nintendo does its best to try to take that unique selling proposition away from us, and it pisses me off. And it doesn't just piss me off. I'm sure all those Nintendo YouTube channels are sick of Nintendo taking half of their money too. So, yeah, my second turkey for 2017 is just game media distribution in general. It's so whacked out and weird, and it's like the Wild West. We shouldn't be at this place in 2017. So
we were at that place in 2012.
Right.
It hasn't gotten any better.
It hasn't. Yep. So there you go. Turkeys for 2017. You guys didn't think you were going to get them, and you did.